May the fourth be with you guys. Why we love Star Wars? Why don't we love Star Wars? Star Wars Empire Strikes Back was the first movie I ever saw in theaters.
I saw Wallace Shawn die. Wallace Shawn is dead.
It's 2 minutes for roping.
I like that. You're a jabroni.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Wednesday night. It's What the Show. My name is AJ Lancaster. I'm one of your co-hosts, and tonight we only have two. What's the name of our other one?
That's me. And tonight, because there's only one of me, I'm by myself. Obviously I'm going to be called Deke Solo because that's the logical last name to have when you're by yourself. So yes, I'm Deke Solo tonight. Bethany, yesterday I did something really insane. She was at a wedding this weekend, and it was in Vermont, and we live in Georgia, and they drove in one shot back, and she went to work this morning and basically got home from work, and she's a zombie, so she's taking the night off. That was a 17-hour drive.
And also on a long road trip is Justin the Juice.
Yeah,
Justin the Juice Oliver. Who said that he was passing through Omaha, through my hometown, and we're going to do a thing where like they stopped at like an arcade place, and I showed up and challenged him to Mortal Kombat, but we never made that materialize. But that's neither here nor there. Tonight, though, we have a special guest.
This was a long one. How the hell is this the first time that they're on this on their own? Like, he's been on our show before, but this is the first time as the featured guest.
Yeah. He's been on here for fantasy football drafts. He is the greatest New Yorker since Bobby De Niro, a personal Peter Weller enjoyer, Saquon Barkley's personal ankle assistant, father of 5, and the famously left-handed John Mariano. John, welcome to the stream.
Hello there, guys. How are you?
I like my nuts creamy.
I like my nuts a little vanilla and a little honey dipped.
That's some good nuts there. How you doing, John?
I'm doing good, Mr. Solo.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it rolls. So, John, I don't know how much you've kept up with us lately. We are notorious for having a hard close, so we actually have our guests do their plugs right off the bat, so we make sure we get them in. So, why don't you tell us about what you're up to on the internet?
Oh, so I have been podcasting with my buddy Corey Morissette for a couple of years. We're doing a little podcast called Backtracks. Well, our brand's Backtracks. We do one Aerosmith Revisited where we're going through the entire Aerosmith catalog, song by song. We have our buddy Scott Haskins joined us now, and we each pick 2 songs on a pair of die, or one die, whatever you call one die. We roll it. Whatever song comes up, that's what we talk about that night.
Nice.
So we got a second podcast. It's just Corey and I. We do Backtracks theme music. We pick a song. We pick a movie or a TV show. And it gives us a reason to talk about either or both. Mm-hmm. In the case of like a really shitty movie, it gives us a chance to slam a really shitty movie, talk about a great song, vice versa, or talk about great both, or sometimes shitty both.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun. I was going to say, Aerosmith actually has a place for me back in, what was that, 88? My family got our first CD player, and the first CD I got was Pump.
Nice.
Really?
Yep. It's not the first one I bought for myself because I got it as a gift, but that was the first CD I owned was Pump by Aerosmith. So
that's
history.
This is an interesting conversation because like, the first thing I remember, my mom bought me. She took me to a record store because I'm old, and she bought me what they call a 45, which is now a single. And I got the St. Elmo's Fire. I got John Parr singing "Man of Motion" was my first 45.
Nice.
But my first cassette that she bought me was Huey Lewis and the News Sports.
Okay.
And the first one I chose myself was Appetite for Destruction.
There we go. That sounds like a John Mariano answer right there.
Wow.
So my question to you guys is, I know it's your show, but I'm gonna kind of just
Yeah, absolutely.
roll with it. What was the like? We know Pump was the first one that you got like by your parents. What's your first one that you chose for both of you?
Yeah, it was smashed by the Offspring when I had my own money.
Mine is much worse and much more regrettable. First album I bought with my own money, including like chore money, that kind of thing, was the Three Doors Down self-titled album.
It's a choice.
Much later.
Yep. Kryptonite. Yep.
I mean,
Loser.
it's a Superman
that
song.
Is catchy as hell.
Right, it's a Superman song. So
I
mean, there was a point in my life I bought Spin Doctors because of the Jimmy Olsen blues. So we all have those Superman soft spots in our wheelhouse.
Just recapping on Aerosmith real quick. When you guys talk about Nine Lives as an album, my sister got that for like one of her first albums with her own money. So like that'd be a good one to talk about.
Oh, well,
yeah, that was like the first one that like we shared a room and there was a CD player in that room. That it's burned in my brain.
So I will say this, and this can be a soft invitation for you guys for one at a time, however you want to do it. But both of those shows we do guests on.
Yeah,
and I'm very close with the founders of the shows. So if you guys want to come on, talk movies, talk music, talk whatever, there's an invitation waiting for you.
It's kind of what we do.
Anytime we can talk about. I would love to talk to you about Jones Beach Amphitheater because I know you've been there, and I've been. That's one of my favorite places to see a show. I have not been there in a long time, but being I'm originally from Long Island. John's from Long Island. I would love to talk about Jones Beach. That would be a lot of fun. I saw Aerosmith there.
I would love to have somebody on who also knows Jones Beach Amphitheater because I've brought it up a couple of times, and I feel like I'm talking to a void right now.
Oh, we got to do it 100%. I want to do this.
Yeah. So
I'm a void. And by the way, speaking of voids, playing FF1 before 16 tomorrow. Kill Chaos. That is deep gamer references that are lost on both these gentlemen. Nope.
Is that Final Fantasy 1?
Yeah, he's playing the first one right now.
I feel like I know something.
Yeah. All right, so before we really get into things, we have to remind everyone we do have our Streamlabs. It's not pinned yet. Maybe I'll take care of that. But this is the last week of June. All Streamlabs donations are going to help Robert Montano from Late to the Party with his medical expenses. He is out of they actually started making content again, so very happy to see that he's doing much better than he was. And there it is right there. If you want to just skip the middleman and just go directly to the GoFundMe, it is going to be scrolling throughout the stream. But anything that you can donate obviously will help. I know they said that their insurance denied a few of their claims, so these medical bills are going to be astronomical.
Yeah, there's things like hemoglobin shots that when you're below a certain rate, they give you that even with insurance, it's about $1,000. They've got about 18 grand in the bank, so we're just going to do what we can to help them out. So
absolutely. We're glad to see you're feeling better, Robert.
No, and
Robert.
And just to piggyback on that, like my first job was in medical records, so I hate to sound like a nerdy expert on this stuff, but our medical system sucks balls, and we all know that. And when you have a chance to help somebody out, and especially somebody like Robert, who's just not just a pillar of our community, but like just a stand-up dude,
like a fucking awesome guy.
Just like whatever you got. Like, I'm not telling you what to do with your money; it's your money, but it's probably a good thing to try to help people out.
Yeah. I've done every time that I thought I'm going to spend $50 in a dumb way. I donate it out. That's kind of what I do anymore. It's kind of my personality.
And in fairness, if somebody wants to spend $50 in a dumb way, my Twitter handle is John Mariano NY, and I will give you the worst advice on how to spend that money, and you'll realize spending it on somebody like Robert's way better than whatever my stupid idea is.
Hey, you didn't ask for the money. That is honest shit right there. Let's go.
No.
This is a program full of integrity.
No. I will ask for not a dime. I will just give you the absolute worst advice on what to do with your $50.
Ooh. So, like, you're big into NFTs, or?
Oh no, it's so much worse. Like, look, you've had conversations with me. You know where this imagination can go. Do you really think I'm going to do like the low hanging fruit of something like an NFT with your investment?
I mean, if we're going to the darkest places,
mean-
not like the depths of the ocean.
Yeah, no. I'd have you do stuff like investing like grout. You always need grout, right? You see where I'm going with it? Like it's like it never goes bad. Like you don't have to worry about an expiration date, right? You always at some point in your life you need some grout, right? So it's useful. Yeah. But like, is this really what you're going to spend $50 on? Yes, because that's my advice.
So I got one. I actually mentioned this to Bethany before, and she told me I'm a lunatic. I'm going to go invest in forever stamps because those are going to go up in price. And then you'd be like, hey, I'm going to sell them for 1 penny less than the post office does when the price has gone up.
So yeah. I hate to break this to you, but the way inflation works,
No.
it doesn't mean things get bigger or more valuable.
I've got Apple stock, but I've also got beef stock. Let's face it, I'm gonna be a billionaire.
Oh, your pun game is
throwing it back
strong.
to the league. Yeah.
God, I haven't watched that show in forever, but I love that. That was such a great show.
It's so good, so quotable.
PJ Campbell was basically our Taco last year. Didn't know what he was doing and won the fucking league.
Dude could have drafted 3 kickers.
I mean,
Well, Justin wouldn't let that happen. Justin decided to take Justin Tucker in like round 5.
for how hard I work in that league, you know how upset I was. Like, Taco shows up and is like, "Yeah, I'm gonna win." It's like, really? I'm investing myself in like 50 freaking trades a day, just trying to get like incrementally better.
And fucking PJ Campbell, who, as far as we're aware, like maybe had seen a football game in his life before that, comes in and wins the fucking league.
PJ heard this was a game about pigskin, and really thought this was like a movie where like people slaughtered pigs or some shit like that.
Well, and okay, PJ probably actually watches about as much football as me because my job, I'm working all day during Sunday, every job I've ever had. But I love the stats. I'm like how people are with baseball stats. That's how I am with football stats. I love the analysis portion. And like he just kind of jumped in and was like a Rain Man to it. And I was like,
PJ has a photographic memory too. I mean,
yeah.
So like when it comes to things like that, and when it comes to analyzing numbers, dude is smart. So that from that perspective, it did not surprise me.
He hit me with that. How about them apples? Like,
PJ is also like the human embodiment of Ted Lasso.
Yes,
right?
Loves everything.
Like I have no doubt that PJ went to each one of the players on his team, had a conversation with them, and that's why they all overperformed.
That's probably the thing with Rashad Bateman. By the way, not bacon, chicharrones.
Yeah.
Different, yeah.
Well, speaking of PJ Campbell, this came up in our fantasy football group chat, and John's here, and we definitely need to talk about the Flash. It was a rare time. If you follow PJ on Twitter, now we mentioned this, it's very, very rare that PJ speaks ill of a movie. And in our group chat, him and Chance came in and were like, yeah, we didn't like it. And that never happens with PJ. I have not seen it yet, but John, you have, and we know you have a lot to say.
So I was watching this movie, and I was not even 10 minutes into like PJ could probably tell you. I was probably about 5 minutes into the movie. We watched it across the country from each other. I was about 5 minutes into this movie. I'm like, I'm really going to disappoint PJ with my opinion of this movie because PJ loves everything. And I'm like,
Everything.
I'm going to end up shitting all over this movie. And when he came back and didn't like it, I was blown away. Like,
Yeah.
not because I thought there was a redeemable quality in this movie, because there's not. But because PJ sees the bright side of like a New York City taxi cab. Like he does not, he does not see the bad side in things. To his credit, and like one of my biggest things that I was upset about was like, man, like I really hate this movie. Like it's not even like I didn't like this movie. Like I really hate this movie.
Yeah,
right?
You've mentioned to me in private chats. Yeah,
yeah. It's like AJ and I were talking about it, and it's not. I love the DC characters, so I want to start there because I feel like this is a popular thing to just shit on DC. The DC characters are not among my favorite characters. Warner Brothers as a whole owns my favorite characters. They own my favorite IP. You take the Looney Tunes characters, the Hanna-Barbera characters, right? Top to bottom, they own my favorite IP. Top to bottom, they don't know what they're doing with it. And it drives me nuts. And I wish this movie was great. I was rooting for it. I haven't liked other DC movies, and I saw this movie in spite of that. Not reluctantly, but like once again, the trailers got me. And like there are certain DC things I've really enjoyed, and some things I really haven't. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going into this, and I'm not even. I take the advice of like Yoda when I go see a movie. And that's the best way to put it. Is Yoda says, treat the movie theater as your cave, and only bring into it what you will. Right? And I try to go see a movie with that attitude.
Movie theaters.
Right?
Well, and so,
I try to approach movies that way.
Yeah, and you mentioned like your love of the WB, characters and all that. Like for me, I haven't liked DC a ton in the past few years, but Batman 1989 is my all-time favorite superhero movie. So that there is something about the characters as a whole. I think I'm with you on this. I think the actual DC characters, like from the comic books and from the original source material and stuff, I prefer them to most Marvel. However, when it comes to the movies, I've enjoyed Marvel more.
So let's talk about Batman 89 for a minute and his inclusion in this movie. Batman 89 is not in this movie. Michael Keaton is in this movie playing Batman. And I don't say that because of creative choices or anything else. Michael Keaton is one part of Batman 89. And the Tim Burton aesthetic and the cinematography and the tone and all of that plays into what it is. And then there's an edge and an attitude to Keaton. There's almost like Keaton was as crazy as the villains.
He was.
And this character, as much as they try, does not fit that bill. It would have made sense to me had this movie, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but I am going to talk about the movie a little bit. When they get to Keaton's part, if it was Burton's Earth and everything was like Burton-esque, would have made sense if it had that art direction to it.
Well, I see that, and I feel that in the way that like I'm a big Batman Begins fan, but you look at the Gotham in Batman Begins versus the Dark Knight, and it's an entirely different Gotham.
It's a different city.
Yeah, like one looks like how white people think of Detroit, and the other one is like
Pittsburgh.
What Pittsburgh actually looks like. Yeah,
right.
Pittsburgh's beautiful.
Yeah,
yeah.
No, but that's where they filmed it, right? Like they filmed it. I think part of it they filmed one in Detroit and the other one in Pittsburgh, which is why it looks that way.
Yeah.
And they filmed Burton's on sound sets.
Right. Burton's filmed in England.
Right, and a lot of care and craft went into the Burton sets, as they all do on his movies, right? Love or hate Burton movies, right? They all have an aesthetic to them.
You
And
know it like without knowing it. If you just saw the visual on screen, like that's Tim Burton.
right, if you watch Burton's movies in order, right, and you watch like Pee Wee's Big Adventure, and then Beetlejuice, and then Batman '89. There is a natural progression to where that art direction goes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He was growing as a filmmaker and also got a bigger budget. So
Right.
it made total sense. I am petrified of Beetlejuice 2, by the way. Absolutely petrified of what is going to happen with that movie.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big old shitburger. I'm sorry.
I love the things that we all love, but I'm at a point with it where I can go watch the original. I would like to see something. Show me something I haven't seen yet. And I'm not
Right.
saying don't do Batman anymore, but don't give me the Batman that you've given me. Give me some new Batman, right?
Well, and that's why I'm super excited for Batman Brave and the Bold.
It's a different story.
Well, and Batman Brave and the Bold as a comic book and as an animated series, it was that Batman who is like he's psychologically as fucked as like the Robert Pattinson Batman,
Mm-hmm.
but also he cracks jokes. Like he's not super serious. He's somewhere, but he has the backstory of Robert Pattinson, but the veneer of Adam West. And I don't know how Tom Cruise is going to do in that role. Sorry, if nobody knew that yet. Breaking on What the Show. That's what Andy Muschietti was talking to Tom Cruise about for 15 minutes. It wasn't the fucking Flash. I'm sorry.
But speaking of Tom Cruise, we've been discussing. For those who don't know, our fantasy football league is doing our draft order based on the box office performance. We all pulled out. We're assigned a movie, pulled out randomly, and this summer has been a shit show at the box office. An absolute shit show at the box office. So Bethany and I had talked about this for years. We both recently left, but we worked at Universal Studios for a long time, and we hit basically the beginning of 2021, and the crowd numbers just never relented throughout 2021, 2022, beginning of 2023. There was no dead times. We were seeing record-breaking numbers. People were coming in droves, even though the prices were going up. More like something's gonna burst, and it's gonna burst big because this is not the way the world is going to work. And we're seeing this at the box office right now, I think, because there's so much content, not only in theaters, but in streaming and all of that. And with all the raising ticket prices, anybody who doesn't have a subscription movie service dropping $20 to get in, another $20 to get food, popcorn, people are not going to go see 5 movies a month if they're spending this much money. And it's starting to show when you have week after week after week of blockbusters that are not like premier blockbusters, because that's the key word I think that's missing this summer. Like last year, Top Gun Maverick stood on its legs and like stood out above the rest. Guardians of the Galaxy and Spider-Verse were both very good movies, and word of mouth and repeat viewings got them. But everything else that has come out, there is not one of them that is standing out and saying, I'm better than the rest of you.
I think that there's another factor in this, right? Because I would contend that Transformers is a quality movie.
It was decent.
Right.
I like it.
But I think that to build a franchise, you're only as strong as your last movie or two, right? And while I enjoyed Bumblebee, there is a divide on Bumblebee on whether or not it's a Transformers movie that has coming of age in it, or it's actually a coming of age movie that happens to have Transformers in it, right? And I think that's part of the problem with Transformers. And I think that the reasons why Guardians and Spider-Verse succeed are the strength of their predecessors.
That's true.
All of the movies that the Guardians were in, save for the Thor movie, right? Which they're
for a minute. They're for a minute.
But all of their previous appearances, whether it's in the Avengers or their own movies, mega blockbusters and super enjoyable popcorn flicks, and they deliver, and they continue to. I think it's also helped by James Gunn's track record. That if you look at James Gunn's movies, right, even franchises that you thought were dying, like when he did the Suicide Squad, right? People look
My
at
third
that,
favorite DCEU movie. So
right? People
My
want to
favorite.
people want to argue about the box office. It was like in the dead of COVID, and it was released on HBO Max same day, and enjoyability is what we're talking about.
exactly.
It's there. Spider-Verse. Is there a more enjoyable movie than the original Spider-Verse? Right, and now they're giving us more. Like,
Well, in
yes, please.
Spider-Verse, like it had a weak box office, but it had the entire pandemic and being on Netflix for people at theaters full of kids who those kids are now 3 years older than they were at the beginning of the pandemic to enjoy this thing.
And it's also quality. Both the original and I might have liked the sequel better, which is insane because I love the original.
So now we're looking at the rest of the summer, and we have Top Gun coming out. Mission Impossible, right?
Pretty much so.
Pretty much, because what we've learned is Tom Cruise, the next Batman, according to AJ. You heard it here first.
No, he's talked to Muschietti about Batman.
So
next Batman.
So
has been had.
So what I hear you actually saying is Tom Cruise is the next Commissioner Gordon.
No,
you heard it here first.
I would buy that actually as a good
cast. Him and John Hamm.
Oh.
John Hamm would be an interesting Gordon too.
No, for Batman.
Yeah. No. We're talking about Gordon now. You missed it. You missed the boat, AJ. We recast him.
But yeah, talking about Mission Impossible, like Mission Impossible, coming to your last point, the most recent Mission Impossible was fantastic, and that has momentum going into it, and the Top Gun Maverick. How much everyone loved that movie last year. People like he's doing another one, and you see that trailer. That trailer for Mission Impossible with the last shot with the jump. Who in their right mind doesn't want to see that movie after seeing that shot?
Yeah.
That shot is fucking insane.
But I love that Tom Cruise now makes Mission Impossible movies going, how can I almost kill myself, but not? And I'd like to make another one where I come even closer to death.
Yeah.
And I think Ben Mepler did the tweet that was just like, yeah, he's doing a backflip on a jet ski or some shit, and you can see him mouthing, "Is this something?" And that was his fake review of Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning.
Well, so
is this something?
I was talking to Bethany about this before. Like, rewind about give or take 15 years, people hated Tom Cruise for a little while there. His movies were not doing good. Before Edge of Tomorrow, he was in a slump. And even Edge of Tomorrow didn't do fantastic at the box office, but it got people back interested into him at least, if nothing else. And then around the same time was when Tropic Thunder came out. And I think that's when people started getting back on the Tom Cruise bandwagon. But this is a guy that was literally 15 years ago. Nobody wanted like Tom Cruise, the crazy Scientology guy. I'm not seeing him,
Well, he was a crazy Scientology guy, and he was also the very vanilla leading man.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't to knock Tom, but you knew what you were getting. You still kind of get the same thing. Tom's going to run really fast in the movie, right? Like, you know what you're going to see in a Tom Cruise trailer. You just he changed the conversation back to talking about his movies and the quality of his movies as opposed to his personal life. And look, more power to him because it works.
And the other thing too is these movies like demand you seeing them on a big screen. Mission Impossible and Top Gun Maverick, watching it on a phone or an airplane is not the same experience. Like, he realizes that, and I think that he makes his movies events, which not every movie has done well.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's certain things like I'd say Maverick and like Last Samurai. I don't care. I could watch those movies on an Apple Watch. I'm fine. But like certain Mission Impossibles, yeah, you rely on that big screen.
I also think the thing that he, and I don't want to shit on this other franchise because I know it's popular and makes a ton of money and keeps Vin Diesel employed. But I feel like the Fast movies, for the most part, if you look at their trajectory on quality, I gotta go the other way, right? It's diminishing returns since 5.
Right.
And then you get to Mission Impossible 3. So you got one, like 1 starts up, 2 goes down, you get to 3, and then everything's been going up since, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how he does it, because I remember with my buddy talked me into going to see Mission Impossible 3, coming off of 2. I'm like, I would rather you just punt my face across a football field. I want no part of seeing this movie after the second one.
I
We were giving
like
them
to
so much. I don't fault you for it. Love what you love. This is just my personal feelings on 2.
I do love the knife stunt where Tom Cruise actually almost lost his eye.
Yeah.
I do love that stunt shot, but I like the movie because it's essentially just like if Hobbs and Shaw was a drama.
It's a very fair critique. I remember going into that movie having an expectation of what I thought that movie could be, and it not only not meeting it, but like just being woefully disappointed and being like, "Yeah, no, I'm out."
Whoa! Sorry, 14 minutes ago, Warner Brothers donated $250. $250. Warner Brothers saying, consider this an apology for Gollum and help for that young man. Also, hell yeah. Also, yeah, Flash sucks. I meant not to be as bad as Gollum, but still pretty bad. But hey, at least you can't blame us for Rings of Power or that Scuttlebutt song. Warner Brothers, first of all, I don't know if I can say who Warner Brothers actually is.
I figured it out already. I'm well aware who it is.
Do you know who it is?
Yeah, JG.
Yeah, it's JG. JG, the homie, $250. We're making that donation in your name unless somebody tops it to the
100%.
total donation fund from our PayPal fund through the end of the month. Robert thanks you. Holy shit.
That's
Doing
awesome.
some good on the program.
JG, let us know when you want to come back on.
Yeah. You can talk all the turfy shit you want. What?
So going back to where we were with the Mission Impossible movies, I remember I saw the first one. Like, I was super excited when they announced that Mission. I watched the TV show on reruns, obviously, but when the first one came out, I remember seeing that trailer. I don't remember what movie it was on, but seeing that trailer and just hearing the score to Mission Impossible playing and seeing that trailer drop, I'm like, this looks like the coolest movie of all time. And I was in high school, if I remember, maybe even junior high. I don't know what year did that come out? 97?
Yeah, it was late 90s.
So I was probably like early high school, but like I made sure
right.
I saw that like on the preview night, the night before, because they did the previews for that particular one, I remember. And I just remember watching that movie and be like, this is so cool. Like,
there's a possibility we were in the same theater seeing that.
I was at the Patchogue movie theater.
Oh no, we weren't. But I was a couple of towns over, but we were close.
I usually went to either the Patchogue, which was United Artists, or I went to Comac, which was Multiplex.
Right.
Occasionally but that was, they only had 3 screens, so not much.
I think I had seen that one at Comac.
At Comac, yep.
Yeah.
So I remember, like, AJ's gonna have no idea what the fuck we're talking about.
Nope.
My uncle worked at the Comac movie theater, so I actually got to, yeah. So he got us into a lot of stuff when I was a kid, like that I didn't have to pay for. So I got into like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I got into Willow. I got into Batteries Not Included. Like all of those movies and stuff. Like as a kid, my uncle took us. Like, the first Mighty Ducks I saw. Like because he worked there, I got to see them all for free, which was awesome.
That really is great.
Yeah.
I had a buddy who worked at a Lowe's when I was a teenager, and I used to go see like every movie for free. And all I had to do was show up when he was working. I'd be like, I'll drop his name is Chris. I'd be like, Chris, I want to go see Bean. My buddy and I saw Bean. Only 2 movies I've ever walked out of in my life. Right? I went and saw Bean, and I saw The Man Who Knew Too Little, and I adore Bill Murray. And I walked out of both of these movies in the same night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
What a doubleheader.
Not as bad as what my relation to a movie theater employee was. I dated a girl who worked at a movie theater, and she was like, "Yeah, we get free popcorn and soda when we go to the movies," and we went and saw Batman v Superman.
I'm so sorry.
That was a second date.
That's not the full title.
Dawn of
Dawn
Justice.
of Justice. Fuck you. That was a second date. But we got free popcorn and soda.
I mean, it was a long movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good movie to go to when you don't want to watch the movie.
That's a good point.
Okay, so my thing is, when I go on a movie date, it's like I want to have something, either like I want to go and watch the movie with you and have something to talk about afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't got shit after.
But sometimes, AJ, I'm going to teach you. There's some gray on my face you can see, so I'm going to teach you some experience I have. That's you have some, but like, come on, dude, like. I make Reed Richards look like he has like one color hair. I need you to know sometimes you just need to cut your losses, right? And when you're in that movie and you want to have that conversation, there are ways to have a conversation sometimes without words, right? And sometimes you're like, you know what? We have to make this movie better.
Well, here's the thing. I know what you're hinting at. However, the conversations were more like, okay, so he's got money, and that's his thing. And the Martha thing. We need to talk about the Martha thing.
No, you don't. You can skip over that, and you can be like, "Are you wearing lip gloss? Can I find out?" Like that's a more interesting conversation to have.
Might be more interesting to you, but sometimes some things break your brain so hard. Yeah.
It ain't worth it, son. What I'm saying
Listen,
is...
I'm not married to Sarah. That's how that happened.
Look, what I'm trying to tell you is sometimes you need your own personal Kevin Costner going, hey, I want to talk about this movie, and he just goes like this. He just goes like this, and you let the tornado take the movie away.
Like I realized the mother box joke that I was going for was in the Justice cut. Like, by the way, that joke, the Justice thing about what's in those boxes, Alfred, is it money? World's greatest detective. What did they do to probably the best person who could have ever played Batman in Ben Affleck? What did they do to that
problem? Like his portrayal as Batman was never the issue. It's like 18,000 other things that was the issue with those movies.
Yeah, and like he does good when he has moments. Like even in the Justice cut, it was like, "What's your superpower?" "I'm rich," and it feels like the old school fucking Kevin Connolly Batman animated series when he smiles like that. It's just.
But
it's so
I'm
good.
also getting to that point with a guy like Ben Affleck. I'd rather him just do more movies like The Town. Like,
did you see Air?
Yes, I did. Air was phenomenal. Do
Yeah.
more of that. Like, just keep doing that.
It was good.
I
Right?
loved Air.
It was almost as good as Tetris, but not as good.
I liked Air more than Tetris.
I like that more than Tetris. I like Tetris more than Blackberry. I'm a mark for all these
Still haven't
movies.
seen Blackberry. It played nowhere near me.
I bought it like on Apple or whatever
VOD.
because I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm a huge It's Always Sunny guy. So yeah, I'm like I need to see him like just more of Glenn Howerton. So sign me up.
And I haven't seen it yet, like Mike, but I heard that's basically like the evil version of the product placement movie,
Yes,
and I need that. I
Yeah.
really, really need that.
it's the antithesis of like an Apple announcement. Is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So I wanted to share one thing, like rare one for me, where I actually go like more on the like more heartwarming side. But first time Bethany and I ever went to a movie together was not the first time we saw it, but like we worked together, and she saw that I had posted on social media, like we had just recently become Facebook friends because we were coworkers, that I had went to the midnight showing of Rogue One or whatever it was, the 9 o'clock showing, whatever it was. And she got really excited to talk Star Wars with me. That's how I found out she was a Star Wars fan. So then about 2 months later, not even 2 months, like a month later, we started dating. And even though we'd both seen it, we were both like, let's go see that again. So that was the first movie. Even though we'd both seen it already, that was our first date, was Rogue One.
Okay,
Awesome.
we saw that movie in entirely different fields of life and dating. Because I saw that movie on Christmas Day,
Mm-hmm.
the year it came out, while dating somebody who was actually 6 years younger than me, 6 years older than me, and had 2 kids. Well, three kids, 2 with one father, but and I took a 12-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 4-year-old to see a Star Wars movie in a theater before opening Christmas presents.
Wow. With a banger of an ending if they didn't know what was going on.
And it was, I mean, it's the driest, most plot-driven Star Wars movie. Let's face it.
I like Rogue One. I actually
Yeah.
I think Rogue One is very good. It's probably like right in the middle of my Star Wars rankings, but I do very much like that movie.
I hate ranking Star Wars, but I'm recently rewatching Rebels with the girls.
Yeah.
Because they were too young to remember. Like they remember bits and pieces from the first time we watched it. I gotta say, Star Wars Rebels, if we're ranking these things, is my 4th favorite Star Wars thing.
Oh, so my third favorite Star Wars thing is the last 4 episodes of Clone Wars. If you took those last four episodes of Clone Wars and made that a movie, that'd be number 3.
So you and I do this a little bit opposite. I don't section out just the 4 episodes.
Right.
So my 5th favorite thing is Clone Wars.
Clone Wars, yeah.
Yeah.
They showed that at Star Wars Celebration actually as a movie last year, which I was insanely jealous of because that would have been so cool to see on the big screen. The whole CG, the last 4 episodes as a movie, that deserved a theatrical release.
Mando's my favorite thing.
I love Mando. The first season of Mando for certain. The last season was kind of
So that's what happens with me is like I don't want to knock Mando because there are parts of Mando I think is some of the best Star Wars.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But there's enough stuff in Mando where it's like, did I need that one?
Right.
Probably not. And that knocks Mando down on my list. But down on my list is probably just under Clone Wars.
Right.
Or honestly, it might be under like Revenge of the Sith, which I love. Like
that movie grew on me so much over time. Revenge of the Sith. Like I liked it a lot on the first viewing because it really is a step up from episode 1 and episode 2. I think most people would agree with that. But that movie, especially with the Clone Wars supplemental stuff and everything, sure, it has its flaws, but that story is probably the second most important to the entire saga.
I can defend any Star Wars movie being great except for The Rise of Skywalker.
Yep. Yep. I'm the same way.
I like them all.
It's resoundingly my least.
Yeah, it felt like not just like a fan service thing to me, like it was up against the wall with Carrie Fisher passing away and all this stuff.
The director changes.
It just with newer movies, like I'll use The Flash as the example again. I feel like we're no longer in a time of filmmakers. We're in a time of the mill.
Yes.
And even with a movie like Endgame, which I adore, I love Endgame, I love Infinity War. They were products of the mill that worked, right? And now we're trying to either recreate that or figure that out. And it's like, look, whether you got lucky or all the right pieces were in place or whatever that was, right? You can't just keep churning out movies. Movies aren't meant to be made this way, right? Developed and all that.
Can I tell my story of seeing Rise of Skywalker?
Yes.
I know the story.
Can I mention all the illegal part of what I did?
Just go balls out tonight. Like,
why?
Okay.
Why?
Okay.
Wait. Are you asking our permission, or are you asking us for
seriously,
legal
you're
advice?
John and I are giving you this permission.
Wait. I just want to help AJ out. AJ, I am a glorified graphic designer who now does user experience, right? I am not the guy you come for legal advice. If you want to make your website better or your applications better, I'm your man. But I am not sitting here telling you how to not get arrested. By all means, I want to hear the story, though.
My buddies, let's call them Randy and Steve. Randy and Steve, I met them at their place, and we, at their apartment, we dropped acid, right? And then we took an Uber to Alamo Draft House, and then we watched Rise of Skywalker, and it was so bad, but we're still tripping balls. So we go to the bar at Alamo Draft House afterwards, and they are literally just pouring Hennessy down our throats.
And then what'd you go see?
Until we see cats. Drunk as fucking tripping balls. Now, we were in a packed theater for Rise of Skywalker. We didn't say shit. There were 3 other people with the 3 of us for the screening of Cats. And my God, we had the best time imaginable.
So I want to just help AJ out here a little bit. This is not legal advice by any means, but AJ led off the story that he dropped acid. The year was 2001. It was over 20 years ago for legal reasons. He thought he saw these movies way before they were released. It's an amazing coincidence.
Time is a flat circle.
That is 100% the case. So,
listen, it's no longer in my spinal system. It's been more than 2 years. They can't tap me and find it out. I can be lying to you.
Before we move from Star Wars, I do have a little story for you guys.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Robert Smigel making fun of the with the Triumph, the Info comic dog making fun of the Star Wars fans on Conan O'Brien ever?
Yes. When they were waiting in line, that was Phantom Menace, right?
It was Attack of the Clones in front of the Ziegfeld Theater in New York City. And the reason why I know this is I'm not on camera because I'm behind Robert Smigel when it happens, and I have the receipt. This is actually the I waited in line to go see the premiere at the Ziegfeld Theater to go see Attack of the Clones. I'm in that crowd, but I'm behind Smigel, so I'm not on camera. So I thought you guys might enjoy. This is probably.
I think Mike has the same card.
Mike, were you there?
I'm not certain where it is, but for I held on to it for prosperity. I'm not 100% certain where we have it at the moment, but when I saw Force Awakens, they had a special event at Disney where you saw the movie and then you got to go to Hollywood Studios afterwards for a special night. But it was a crazy event. You had to go check in at like 9 a.m. to get assigned a place to wait in line. And they let the theaters in one at a time, starting at 3 o'clock for the 7 o'clock shows because they were doing big security things. It was right around the time there was the stabbing at Universal, so they were being like super, super, high security on that one. But my dad and I go in the morning and we get our space in line for our theater, and I got number 69. So I, of course, had to keep that.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Oh, you have to keep that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But we also had to go we were the 4th theater let in out of 24. Our theater was let in at 3:20 for a 7:15 showtime. So we sat in that theater for like 4 hours.
So I got a phone call from my buddy. I was working a part-time job at like 8 or 9 in the morning. Like when you get out of work, if you want to come, he worked for one of the makeup companies, and one of his vendors gave him the tickets. And he's like, right away he gave me the call. He's like, if you want to go, we gotta get there as early as possible. So I got out of work at noon. We get on the train. We get to the Ziegfeld like 3 in the afternoon, and we were waiting on that line with all those people to see like a 7 or 8 o'clock show.
Right.
And all this stuff is happening. They at one point an RV pulls up like and they open up the side and they're playing the Phantom Menace on it. And we thought it was the studio doing it, but it's those Force Effects lightsabers were premiering, and the dudes who had the company showed up to sell it. So they show up dressed as Darth Maul and as the Jedi, and they're recreating the fights, and we're all cheering them on. Smigel with Triumph made fun of them, and like it was really just an incredible experience. And then we all watch the movie, and it's the Attack of the Clones movie.
Second worst movie.
Universally, it was the biggest group of Star Wars nerds in the world. I was happy to be part of it. I was one of them, and we were all pumped. And the conversation was like, well, it has to be better than the Phantom Menace. There's no way they're going to do anything worse than Jar Jar in this movie. That's the conversation going in.
Jar Jar.
And it was like going to Game 7 of your favorite sports team and them losing, walking out. Like nobody was looking at each other. There was no eye contact. We all did this walk from Midtown Manhattan to Penn Station to come back to Long Island, and it's like a 10 or 15 block walk in silence, and groups of us, right? Just no talking, no conversation, right? We all know what we just witnessed, and we know the world's about to witness it, and it wasn't even like us slamming the movie. It was just sadness.
Yep.
It feels like what you're describing is almost like the end of Fanboys. Have you ever seen Fanboys?
Yes.
Yeah, when they
sucks?
get their friend to the movie and they're like, well, what if this movie sucks?
Yeah.
And it hits the credits.
So I got something pretty wild. I do have at arm's reach because, again, like I said, we're still our office is basically used as we still need to find places to put things. I have some things here that are super retro. This is the pre-release episode 1 Staff and Battle Droid. They made too many. It's not worth anything. They made like way too many of them. And I also, before the movie came out, bought the following figures. I have Darth Sidious, Anakin Skywalker, C-3PO.
Christ.
Thankfully, I bought the right one, Darth Maul.
Nice.
I'm like, the other 3, it's like, oh crap, I bought the worst characters, but thankfully I got them all. I wish I bought a Kenobi, but I do have, I'll show you, these ones are real cool, actually. Star Wars Celebration Chicago. I actually won the Hasbro raffle, so I was able to get the Black Series Obi-Wan and the Black Series Maul, and Ray Park was there, so I had him sign it.
Wow.
So that was cool. Those ones are worth something.
I just want fucking Star Wars to be good.
Yeah. All right, so we have one more thing we're going to bring up, and this could go for a while here. And you want any time crunch, John?
I look. You asked me to block time on my calendar, and I am all yours.
Okay, so we can do this for a while. I'm off tomorrow, so we can go late tonight. So I don't know how many of you know what McDonald's recently did. I'm sure you've all seen the advertising where they're celebrating Grimace's birthday. But apparently, this is going on. I don't have the McDonald's app, so I've not seen this myself. But this screenshot has been going around a lot. So I don't know how well it's going to show up on here, but if you
1 million points
for 1 million points, you get to spend the night with Grimace.
First rule, promo training.
It also says he can't say no to anything. Yeah. Yes, that is 100% what it says. That you get to spend the night with Grimace, and he can't say no to anything. So what my question is to everybody, for everyone on screen and everybody in the chat, if you could spend the night with Grimace and he can't say no to anything, what the hell would you do?
Butt stuff.
This is Joker stuff all over the board here. Like, do you go on a crime spree? Do you just like do you go and do weird sex stuff? Do you go ahead and
Lego is slaying it. Sex worker and honestly get a girl. Purple power.
I'm a big movie fan. I like to recreate scenes of movies that might be ridiculous to do with Grimace, like ridiculous to begin with, but to do with Grimace, right? Like I might want to just recreate the movie of The Hangover.
Yes, with Grimace.
And specifically, I feel like I'd want to steal Mike Tyson's tiger with Grimace.
Yes, there we go. That's a great answer.
Well, okay. Grimace's cold, dead stare that maybe gives you the impression that this might be an omnipotent, indestructible being. Lego is in the chat. Will agree that my first thought goes into that is Mr. Popo from Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Yeah, you guys have no frame of reference.
Nope.
Oh,
So
it's a woman who doesn't know any better.
as we learned in Clerks the Animated Series, nothing can kill the Grimace. So basically at this point, I feel like you can do whatever the hell you want. Grimace can't say no. So you are going, do you want to rob a bank and get all the money in the world? Have at it. There ain't nothing stopping Grimace. Do you want to go and make sure McDonald's has the ice cream machine working? I think Grimace can make that happen.
No, he can't.
Real quick, just for the people in the chat who knows what I'm talking about is, I'll tell you where you're not. Save.
Is it safe? Ah! I just wanted to buy some smokes. William got the joke. But yeah, so like this is crazy though. Like, I don't have the app. I don't know how many points you get. Like if you go to McDonald's and you know whatever you order, how many points you get per dollar or whatever. So they have that listed on there for $1 million. Like, and I've seen a lot of people saying this is the new Pepsi Harrier jet. Like, is somebody actually going to be able to get the $1 million? Is there a way for this to happen?
If we can buy points,
Yeah.
Grimace is going to be a weekly recurring character on the show.
Wait, Grimace can't say no.
Can't say no. That's literally
Can't
what it
say
says
no.
on there. John,
There's
I'm
literally
gonna message you the
nothing-
picture.
Yeah. So
Nothing you can do for Grimace would be against consent.
I feel like I tell Grimace to beat the shit out of the Philly Fanatic.
There we go.
Pecking order.
Yeah, so like I would definitely have the Grimace like at this point. Now I'm trying to think of who would be like the Grimace is going to go pop Tyreek Hill's kneecaps or something like that, so that you know the The Dolphins ain't winning anything. Like the Grimace is gonna go and I don't know. He's gonna go and turn on the sprinkler system at the Phillies game so they can't play. Like Joker shit like that. You know, there's so many things that he can do to
Gonna pop Brock Purdy's elbow with a fucking paintball. I mean,
You guys aren't thinking big enough. I'd have Grimace like touch the Parthenon. Let's go big with let's turn this into an international news story. Right? Nothing criminal. We're not gonna deface anything. But we're gonna do something where it's criminal? Well, I mean it's sort of criminal.
He's gonna short the Pope's bed sheets.
I wouldn't mind I've recently entered the dating pool. And I wouldn't mind if I have a lady friend over or something, and in mid coitus, Grimace shows up and she looks at me and I look at her and I look at Grimace. I'm like, threesome, right?
No. Here's how it happens. That's a little unsuspecting. That's like forced consent sometimes.
No! I would just ask, and then she could chase us both away.
It's got to be you and Grimace at the bar, and you walk over and you're like, "Hey, we really liked your vibe."
wow.
Yeah, and that's how you find the one.
You know what? We haven't even hit the obvious yet. We get Grimace in the car, and we go to the Taco Bell drive-thru. And as we roll up to the window, we'll be like, my friend wants extra hot sauce. And you just lean back, and it's just Grimace's dead eyes staring at the Taco Bell employee.
I'm we're doing some national treasure kind of shit with Grimace. We're definitely getting our hands on some
Grimace
crazy
is going
document.
to steal the Declaration of Independence.
Grimace is going to go lick the Liberty Bell. Grimace would also I feel like I would go to. Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Going to White Castle would be a triple.
Okay. And Lego once again in the chat, being the MVP, we need to put Grimace in a Mandy situation.
Grimace and Nick Cage in a movie together, just sign me the fuck up right now. That right there is winning all 75,000 Academy Awards. So, yeah, they don't even need a script.
I got the script. Nicolas Cage is the Hamburglar.
I actually went to a Halloween party as the Hamburglar once, and that got quite a reaction. If you could find a Hamburglar costume and show up to a Halloween party as the Hamburglar, yes, you're going to be a hit at that party.
Now, here's the thing. Here's what Mike did. Instead of just doing the little stripe mask, he blacked out the entire face.
I saw Wallace Shawn die. Wallace Shawn is dead.
It's 2 minutes for roping.
I like that. You're a jabroni.